you tired?
Yes.
No. Okay, maybe we should do it like this. If we all just stand up 1 second. Okay, do we do that? Okay. And stretch in any way you deem necessary.
Open the windows.
Okay, now we can sit down, right? We hope for the best with the presentation because we had to shift it from to PowerPoint. And I will talk to you about the role of this social entrepreneur, but maybe more interesting will be that we'll provide you with some of the principles for and of the Chaos Pilots when producing or building or nurturing social entrepreneurs. I will do so by giving you some stories to provide some texture for it, but also some models and methods from us. But I would start with, since we only have 20 minutes, 25 maybe, hopefully, I would start with the most important stuff first. The socially responsible design entrepreneur, what is that? Well, the way we view it is someone that comes up with new ideas, someone that meets unmet needs. The most challenging part for us is how to make it scalable. That is the most challenging part for when we work with our students. They normally are very ingenuitive when they come up with new ideas. It's difficult to scale it. The last part is not so difficult for our students, making it happen without compromising ethics. That's far more difficult for other people that we're working with. As you, let's see if I press this one correctly. Yes. When we designed our curriculum and our program, we tried to exhibit some seemingly conflicting areas, right? Global and local and format and content, theory and praxis, because we think that the curriculum of today needs to handle conflicting priorities. The first principle I will try to remember. Sorry that you can't see. So I will try to say what it says. Right. The first principle is the student's agenda, and this is maybe the most important part of our program. To always remember that it's not my agenda, it's not the Chaos Pilot's agenda, it's the student's agenda. Hopefully, these principles can be spark some ideas for you later on to influence the further work from here. And I will tell you a little story about that one. In 1998, a student called Mikael Nybrandt entered the Chaos Pilots after 5 years of extensive traveling in Tibet and India. And he came in and he said something like this: "Hi, I'm here to start a national soccer team of football in Tibet." And as a school, you have two ways to meet him. You said you're completely insane, or you can say, "Great, we will support you." And we chose to do so, and he spent the 3 years always focusing on this and say, how can I apply what I'm learning here towards that goal? He succeeded. They made a documentary and they made actually a game between Greenland and Tibet, taking place in 2001 outside Aarhus. It's not exactly France towards Ireland playing, but some interesting, I think it was like 14-13 the game ended or something like that. The thing was that he wanted to bridge his personal things of, he loved soccer and he loved traveling. So that was his personal agenda. At the same time, while traveling, he had seen that the culture, the Tibetan culture was declining, disappeared. And so he wanted to create something that could be a focal point for their culture. Anyone that's seen the movie knows that the trainer were in for a big treat when trying to produce this soccer team. It had a political implication, which no one had seen before it actually happened. It was just before the game was supposed to happen. The Chinese government called the Greenland government and told them, if that game is going to happen, you can forget everything about shrimps and fish to China. And that was the export product of Greenland. So Greenland then, they called the government in Copenhagen and said, what the hell are you up to? And they said, we don't know what you're talking about. And then they figured out that it came through our institution. They called us and said, what are you up to? And we said, we don't know. And they said, this game can't take place. And we said, well, sometimes, you know, you just have to live up to your own values. And we said, no matter what, we are going to support this. And Michael is a hustler, so he basically faked a phone call from CNN in the Chinese embassy, and then they backed off. And the game happened. When the Chaos Pilot when the Chaos Pilot was originated, it started out in '91. It came from more of a cultural street artist background in Aarhus called the Frontrunners. There was a couple of 100 kids, troubled kids, that worked with different projects. And in '89, they were asked to take part in a movement called Next Stop. And Next Stop was going to do a project called Next Stop Soviet. And they asked the Frontrunners if they wanted to be part of it. And the Frontrunners said, so what are we going to do? Well, we don't know, they said. Do you have any money? No. Do you have any permission to go to Soviet at all? And they said no. And then the Frontrunners said, we're in. It culminated in '89. So it started out in '88. It culminated in '89 with a little more than 2,000 young Danes traveling to the heart of Russia. And that was the first time ever since the revolution that private people could actually go to Russia in that way. The founder of the Chaos Palace was interviewed on the Red Square by Danish TV. It's quite an interesting interview. Not just the haircuts, but also when microphone in his face, and he's asked something like this: so, when do you think we will see changes coming to the Soviet Union? And he said, oh, there will for sure be changes. 15 to 20 years from now, there will be major changes. 3 months later, the wall came down. So, what we learned from that was, first, if you're going to figure out where the world is heading, you need to start listening where no one else is listening. You need to pay attention to the weak signals, because if you're going to listen where everyone else is listening, you're going to hear the same thing. The second one was, we need an education that can produce someone that can actually pull a project like this off without burning out. And that was the birth of the Chaos Palace. So it was not born from the academic institutions, but from the streets. Chaos Palace has always been trying to focus on what kind of projects does the world need and what kind of leadership does it mean. It means that we are very much of an experimental institution. And we challenge our students and our staff to always try new ways. That means that we do a lot of failures. But that's also part of the game. But maybe even more important, just to look out and say what is needed out there. We think that what is really important is what sets you on fire. Because if you can't tap into that motivation, into that passion, you can forget about everything, about the rest. Change perspective. This is quite a recent project that one of our students did. His name is Henrik.